الحمد لله وكفى والصلاة والسلام على النبي المصطفى وعلى آله وصحبه ومن سار على دربه واقتفى. أما بعد, dear brothers and sisters, again tonight we are going to continue that series about Palestine, the complete narrative. And in the previous week, we were trying to make the connection between us and Palestine religiously. And at the same time, we were talking about Palestine as the blessed lands. Tonight, with that second session, inshallah, we are gonna discuss the claim that the Jews are talking about Palestine is their land, or their homeland, or it's a Jewish place where they should go back to their place or their country. So the discussion today is this claim true? And when we are talking about this tonight, actually, I wanna please let you know that we wanna pay attention, because we are gonna talk about timelines, dates, and the history of this area of land. And we are talking about Palestine BCE. So, historically, Palestine, or that area known now as Palestine and the ASE territories, was actually inhabited first by some people called the Canaanites, Al-Kan'aniyun. And this, by the way, is in the Bible. So the first people to live in Palestine, they were Al-Kan'aniyun, or the Canaanites. If you search Canaanites in the Bible, you will find out they are the native of the ancient Palestine. And this actually was 4,000 years BCE, before Christ. So I want to say that was no Torah, no Musa alayhi salam, no even Ibrahim alayhi salam. So we're talking about 4,000 years BC. So Al-Kan'aniyun, and historically it is said there are other people who came from the Arab Peninsula, like Al-Kan'aniyun. They were called Al-Amuriyun or Al-Amuriyun, the Amorites. They came also at that time. Another group of people called Al-Phoenician, the Phoenicians, came to live in the area of Palestine. And they were settled exactly in Lebanon and Syria, and a part of what we know now as Palestine. So we have the Canaanites, the Amorites, the Phoenicians. They all came to live in Palestine. And if we move forward, we get closer in time, we will come to Sayyiduna Ibrahim alayhi salam, who came from where? From Al-Iraq, now Al-Iraq, Babylonia, which is known now as Bilad al-Iraq. He came to settle in the area of Asham and in these territories of Palestine. And he, sallallahu alayhi wasallam, came almost at the year of 1700 BC. So that was almost 2,000 years before the Christ, or before the birth of Isa alayhi salam. So Ibrahim was not even from Palestine in the meaning of he is a Jewish, he was not a Jewish. Okay? And he came from Babylonia. And he was settled there. And there, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala granted him Ismail alayhi salam and Ishaq. We all know the story of Ismail alayhi salam when he went back to the Arab Peninsula with Hajar and where Al-Kaaba is now. But Ishaq alayhi salam is the son of Ibrahim, and at that time he settled there, and then came Yaqub alayhi salam. Who is Yaqub? Ishaq is Isaac in the Bible. Ishaq alayhi salam is the son of Isaac, or of Ishaq, Yaqub Asif, I'm sorry. Yaqub is the son of Ishaq, who is Jacob in the Bible. And what we know about him, his nickname was Israel. So Israel alayhi salam is Sayyiduna Yaqub. And Israel means Abdullah in Arabic. Il is Allah. So Israel means in Arabic Abdullah. And from there, Israel or Yaqub alayhi salam got his children, which we know nowadays as the children of Israel, where they are trying to commit and to say that we are the descendants of Israel, Nabiullah Yaqub alayhi salam. Yes, that's right. Yaqub alayhi salam was born, raised up, and lived in Palestine. But I want to make sure that we understand. Yaqub alayhi salam and his family were no more than 70 people. So they were not the only people living in the territories of Palestine. You need a proof? Historians say that. But we have a proof in the Quran also. If you go back to the story of Yusuf alayhi salam, when they went to get that food from Egypt and they came back, they said, وَاسْأَلِ الْقَرْيَةَ الَّتِي كُنَّا فِيهَا وَالْعِيرَ الَّتِي أَقْبَلْنَا فِيهَا. If you do not believe us of what happened to our brother Benjamin, go and ask the people where we were visiting, the people of Egypt, and وَالْعِيرَ الَّتِي أَقْبَلْنَا فِيهَا, and the people of the caravan we were traveling with. So they were not the only people living in Palestine. They were just a tribe, a family, maximum 70. Let me say, by the way, according to some historians, they say when they went to Egypt, when Yusuf alayhi salam asked his brothers to go and come back with his dad Yaqub alayhi salam and every member of the family of Yaqub, they came. And some people said they were 300 people. Let me say 300 people. But the main idea, they were not the only dwellers of Palestine at that time. So if they say we are the owner of the land, this is not actually true. But anyway, we go ahead again and we move forward with that history, and we will see that when Yaqub alayhi salam went to Egypt, so there were other people living there. Where did the word Palestine came from? Or Palestine came from? In the year almost 1300 before Christ or BCE, some people came from an island called Crete Island in the Mediterranean Sea. And it has some kind of troubles, famine, something. They wanted to migrate to Egypt and the Bilad al-Sham. At that time, there was the Pharaoh, Ahmus al-Awwal. He refused that. And he went on a war against them. This is historically. And I relate to history, then I'll go to religion. So Ahmus didn't like that. And at that time, he also invaded Palestine. So Palestine at that time was occupied by the Egyptians. So he decided those people came from the island of Crete, from the Mediterranean Sea, to go back to the south part of Palestine. That part was called Ballast. You can read that, Ballast. And from there, the people lived there, but they came to marry from the Canaanites, from the Phoenicians, and they come to be a member of the whole community and the society in the area. And they were known as the people coming from Ballast, and they were called the Palestinians. And this is how the people know now there, why we know Palestine as Palestine, because it came from the word Palestinians or Ballast. And we go ahead to learn more. So we know that the place was not only occupied by the Jews, there are many people other than the children of Israel. And there was no Jews even at that time. Yani they were not called Jews, they didn't have the Torah, because Musa is still far away from that time. So they lived there, and after that, they moved to Egypt with their dad Yaqub alayhi salam. And how long did they stay in Egypt, brothers? They stayed in Egypt for centuries, almost from 300 years to 400 years in Egypt. So no one of the children of Israel is living in Palestine at that time. Was Palestine vacant? No people there? Of course not. Then they lived in Egypt, and we all know about the story of the Pharaoh with the children of Israel. And when Allah sent Musa alayhi salam, that was almost 1,000 years BCE. Then Musa came to take them and to go back to where? to Palestine or the promised land. And what we know about this, as we said last session, Allah told Musa alayhi salam to tell his people, the children of Israel, قال, when he was talking to them, يا قوم دخلوا الأرض المقدسة التي كتب الله لكم. My people, the children of Israel, Allah commanded me to tell you to enter the land that is promised to you, that Allah ordained is going to be your land. Which is that land? It's Palestine. So this is the beginning of the meaning of the Jewish people going to that place. Did they go? No. What did they say? They told Musa alayhi salam, you know Musa? No. We will never get into that place. You go, اذهب أنت وربك فقاتلا. You go with your Lord, fight against those people. إنها هنا قاعدون. We'll stay here until you conquer them. Why? قالوا إن فيها قوما جبارين. The Al-Amalek, they were called Al-Amalek, the Amalekites. They are tyrant people. We cannot defeat them or fight against them. So if you get them out of the city, we will get in. So they refused to what? To enter Palestine. And this is what Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala decreed on them. To stay in loss in the desert of Sinai for at least 40 years. قال فإنها محرمة عليهم 40 سنة يتيهون في الأرض. Allah decided it's gonna be forbidden for them. They will enter Palestine and they will stay in loss in that desert for 40 years. And it happened. I want to finish by saying, brothers and sisters, Musa alayhi salam passed away during that time of loss. Harun alayhi salam passed away during that time of loss. And they did not enter Palestine. But someone is going to say, oh brother, but you just said, it's the promised land. Because Allah said in the Quran, ادخلوا الأرض المقدسة التي كتب الله لكم. You said that. Yes, we will explain this inshallah next week to go ahead with the history and understand what was going on during that era of time. أقول قولي هذا واستغفر الله لي ولكم. اللهم يا رب العالمين ارحمنا برحمتك الواسعة. اللهم يا رب العالمين انصر إخواننا المستضعفين في فلسطين. اللهم انصرهم ومكن لهم يا رب العالمين. اللهم اهزم أعداءهم. اللهم اهزم أعداءهم. اللهم يا رب العالمين انصرهم بنصرك نصرا عزيزا مؤزرا. اللهم مكن لهم بتمكينك يا رب العالمين. اللهم لا يهزمون وأنت وليهم. أنت ولي المؤمنين والكافرين لا مولى لهم. اللهم فكن لهم يا رب العالمين ولا تكن عليهم وكن على أعدائهم ولا تكن لغيرهم يا رب العالمين. وآخر دعوانا أن الحمد لله رب العالمين وصلاة وسلاما على المرسلين وجزاكم الله خيرا.